worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. I'm En Fuego here with another installment of Enfuegotainment. That's right, you can just call me Fuego for short, and as always, I'm super stoked to have you here with me discussing a film that was just recently released. That's right, a Fresca Fuego review. It's probably gonna have been out by about a week or so by the time this review actually hits, but I am here to discuss the new lewd and crude romantic comedy that is Long Shot. Directed by Jonathan Levine and written primarily by Dan Serling, but there was Liz something, another writing credit on there. But yeah, so Jonathan Levine paired with Rogen quite a few times before, Seth Rogen being our male lead, along with Charlize Theron, who is still looking gorgeous, and honestly, over the years, from Monster onward, has just continued to impress me. Young Adult was terrific. Tully, just about a year ago, it was one of the best movies I saw that year. Yeah, I mean, she's incredibly talented. I mean, with her, it goes all the way back to 2 Days in the Valley and Devil's Advocate, and I mean, she's a terrific talent, and she's a babe. So yeah, her and Seth Rogen, love story between the two of them. I know that a lot of people have been declaring the absurdity of this, but you know what? I have seen some guys with great personalities and not like super looker stud muffins win them some babes. It doesn't happen a lot, but you know, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be a wisecracking former journalist he becomes a former journalist in like the first couple minutes of the film, but who also has a certain past connection with her that I don't think I should mention here just yet, because it is kind of an important plot point, and it kind of makes a lot of what transpires actually understandable, relatable, and makes sense. So yeah, Jonathan Levine had worked previously with Rogen on The Night Before, 50-50, but he's also done other solid stuff like Warm Bodies was great, and he even did that All the Boys Love Mandy Lane with crazy former ex-wife, the now ex-wife of Johnny Depp, who was Amber Heard, who was so terrible in Aquaman. God almighty, chick is nuts from what I hear too. But so's Johnny D, so they were made for each other and then toxic for each other. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Long Shot. And so here on Enfuegotainment, I always do a little bit of Bueno, Malo, and Feo, just like you see below there. That's right, that's my silly trope where I can, you know, implement some of my great Escuela Español and just keep it all Enfuegotainment proper. But yeah, guys, so as far as good goes, I laughed a lot more in this movie than I thought I was going to. Granted, it's R-rated. It most definitely earns its R rating, with one joke in particular near the end of the movie that turns into a viral fiasco online. It involves bodily fluid. It made me laugh quite a bit. But I mean, honestly, it's the story is not as hammy and heavy-handed, whatever, as I was anticipating. I thought the writing was actually fairly sharp. The jokes were prevalent and for the most part hit, in my opinion, and genuine chemistry, honestly, at least in my opinion, between Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen as the story unfolds. And so they have kind of a connection from the past, as I said, and haven't seen each other in a very long time. And so lo and behold, Rogen quits his job after the big corporate conglomerate decides to buy up the independent Brooklyn, just kind of smutty, village voicey kind of thing that he's been writing for. And they're just the candid honesty. They're like, we can't survive anymore on weed doctors and escort ads and stuff like that. And so he gets pissed off at, you know, just the shady big corporate company that has bought up his magazine, and even though they want to keep him on board, he has decided to quit. So he walks out and, you know, goes out and gets all faded-tastic with O'Shea Jackson Jr., none other than the son of Cube. That's right, yo. He's actually got some really funny scenes in this, and it seems like everything that I've seen him in, he seems to have he has really good comedic chemistry and just timing and stuff, whereas I thought he was solid in Straight Outta Compton. I thought he was really good in the Margaret Goes West, or whatever the hell goes west, the one that had Aubrey Plaza in it. Be Still My Heart, Aubrey Plaza. But he was funny in that, and in this one, he has good chemistry with Rogen as well. He plays his college buddy who's head of this huge corporate office of some sort, and so to try to cheer Rogen up, he's like, He's like, okay, I need LaCroix cans filled with Johnny Walker Blue and CBD oil, and we're going out on the town. And I'm just like, that sounds intense. But so yeah, they go to this party, and lo and behold, he sees Charlize Theron, Secretary of State, who is aspiring to be the next president, because the current president, and I thought this was a really funny bit, played by a guy whose face I recognize from so many things, and I cannot remember. He was definitely on Mr. Show, though. I know that for sure. He was half of Mr. Show with David Cross. But yeah, he plays the president, but the president who used to be a president on TV and then became the actual president, and he likes watching himself and his old scenes, and he just gets all amped up and stuff. Those bits were funny, man. That just killed me. But so he's giving Charlize Theron's character his endorsement to be the first woman president and stuff. And so with the random run-in that Rogen and her have at the party, and she looks into kind of what he's been doing and just the aggressive, biting satire and political just consciousness that his writing has, she's like, I need to bring him on as my speechwriter, because her handlers and assistants and stuff have been saying, you need to be more humorous. If you're going to win the White House, it needs to happen. And it just goes from there, and it starts out with him just trying to get his head wrapped around her a little bit and understand her better so that he can actually help write her speeches and, just add both genuine comedic bits, but yet still be informative and everything, and just come off as and he's not really trying to shape her into anything. He's not changing her, and yeah, it's good chemistry, and the way it all pans out with him traveling around the world on this tour where she's trying to get all these people for it's a energy saving kind of initiative that she's trying to push forward, and she needs all these different countries' support to really see a proper dent put in it and stuff. And so yeah, there's a lot of people who if I'm gonna go into MALO and bad, I didn't necessarily think it was a bad thing, even though I'm registered independent, but I could see some people, especially of the major red leaning, being just rubbed the wrong way by some of the things in this and some of the stereotypes that we get, including just the way certain media outlets that are politically slanted in a certain way tend to treat women and stuff. And that's actually a theme that comes out. I'll have to save that for the ugly. But yeah, it definitely, certain bits might rub people the wrong way. Also, you can kind of see how things are going to get wrapped up in a nice little package by the end of it. Yeah, I guess it is kind of predictable in that sense. And yet there was a part of me that in the third act I was hoping, I'm like, are they going to surprise me here? Are they going to do something different? Or is it just going to be, what you would expect in this sort of rom-com? And I'll admit, when rom-coms are good, like Sleepless in Seattle and When Harry Met Sally, and oh boy, both of those are with Meg Ryan. What else? I really like While You Were Sleeping. Oh boy, Juliet Naked was one that I watched recently that I really liked with Ethan Hawke. And so yeah, I mean, if done well, I would even say High Fidelity is a romantic comedy. I mean, I enjoy them when they're made well, and I thought this one they did a pretty damn good job on. There wasn't really a lot of bad besides the predictability aspects, I suppose. And I mean, they do get a little overhanded, and maybe that's a good segue into the ugly, into the Feo, is the fact that yeah, they're getting down on the drugs in this, and they're doing Molly and blah blah blah. And I mean, hey, to each their own. Who am I to judge? I've had my time in the sun with psychedelics and silliness and stuff like that. They portray it in a silly, fun, goofy way, and whatever. Maybe that's ugly to some, and it would offend some people in the fact that it's recreational drug use being glamorized in this movie. It upsets me. Me personally, I could give two craps. But so yeah, that's one thing. And then the underlining theme that I mentioned in the bad that might just rub people the wrong way, but I think it's a good ugly, because it just shows the whole society, just stigma of just, I mean, slimeball dudes just, hitting on women and making, raunch comments all the damn time. I've got a lot of peeps that, just don't give, the other sex just the proper respect, and it kind of bugs me. And it is a theme that gets hit quite a few times in this. And Yeah, maybe they beat it home a little bit more so than they don't exactly beat it like a red-headed dead horse, but nonetheless, they still do. It's a theme that, you know, comes back quite a bit, and yet, oh man, Dan, the guy who wrote it, I can't remember his last damn name now. You know, I'm like Jonathan Levine and Dan, whatever. He used to write on South Park, and he's written on King of the Hill and The Office and a bunch of different things. And the running raunch joke at the end, it's just too much, man. It's too much. I'm sure some people will be totally grossed out. I thought it was hilarious. Let's just say it's got some there's something about Mary similarity. So I guess at the end of the day, I will say that I had the burden of expectation is a big thing. I went into this having seen the trailers and I was like, man, that doesn't really look very good, but it charmed me. It genuinely did. It was a sweet film that when I was walking out, I genuinely felt happy. Yeah, go figure. I'm sure some other people may not have that reaction. Some people will probably hate on the tropiness of this film, but I don't know. I mean, there's only so much you can do with romantic comedies to make them fresh, and this one felt fresh enough to me, and you know, I kind of bought into at least the way they had the opposites attract and some of the backstory as to why. I bought into it. I genuinely did, and it portrays Charlize Theron's character as having more depth and, I don't know, more heart and more, I don't know, she's not shallow. Let's put it that way. And I know a lot of shallow women, and a lot of shallow men too, but how about Shallow Hal? That's a romantic comedy that's actually underrated in my estimation. So, yes, I will give this one, at the end of the day, y'all, I will say this is a 3 out of 5. This is a bueno film. It's not Fuego, it's not Enfuego, so it's not a 4 or a 5, but it's a solid 3. I mean, honestly, I rated it on my Letterboxd as 3.5. I don't do half fireballs here on Enfuegotainment, but if I did, yes, this would be very close to a 4. It's closer to a 4 than it is a 3, so, oh hell, whatever, I'll give it 4 then, why not? It's Fuego. It's, yeah, I had enough fun with it. Well, I will say, yeah, I'll say 4 out of 5. Why the hell not? So, I got extended grande gracias now to anybody who tuned into this review. Go in with moderate expectations. Don't think it's going to be like, you know, the awesomest raunch comedy you've seen in a while, but, and it's not on par with There's Something About Mary. I mean, I shouldn't have even used that in the same breath or review as this one, because that's like timeless classic in my estimation. This doesn't reach those heights, but it's still a lot of fun, and I thought it had genuine heart, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. So, I've been Jaime En Fuego. You can find me on all social media sectors like Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, obviously here on YouTube where you're watching me. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you dug this video. I have all kinds of fun Star Wars canon coverage, as I am now officially calling it. I'm going to start hashtagging that, because I'm doing that over the course of this year. I've been doing one film a month, but I finally started this past week putting up my reviews of books and comics that are all in the timeline order as well. So Master and Apprentice is the one that I just put up this past week. It's the newest Star Wars novel by Claudia Gray, who also did Lost Stars and Bloodline. Really enjoyed it. Prequel story with Qui-Gon and a much younger Obi-Wan Kenobi, where he's still very fresh in his training and deals with some Dooku backstory, another pupil of Dooku's that he trained before Qui-Gon. There's some cool flashback stuff. There's some flash forward to post-episode 1 stuff. I mean, I really, really liked it. And then I'm also putting up the Darth Maul comic series that Marvel did, my review of that, which took place shortly before episode 1, before he got the slicey in half and his little robot lower legs and all that stuff. So, yes, if you want to see coverage beyond this from me, which would really boggle my mind if somehow you're on here and you don't know about the much bigger YouTube channel that I'm on, but that would be The Horror Show channel at youtube.com/The Horror Show channel, like you see spelled below. Just got done with Texas Frightmare about a week and a half ago. Had a blast at that. It was totally awesome. We have lots of coverage coming all this week from that, and we put up 1, sometimes 2 episodes a day, whether it's trailer reactions, film reviews, convention coverage like the stuff from Frightmare, and various other cool things. And it is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you and to be spending a ton more of my time over there on The Horror Show. So I guess I will wrap it up there, y'all, and say until the real of comes around once more, hasta luego, cinemigos. But I am hopeful that we get to reconnect sooner rather than later. Peace.